I like to reserve music as a place to be just completely free with no rules, no regulations. I guess my mission, selfishly, because there's two different missions, I guess. I just want to, yeah, get to a point where all I have to do and all I'm obligated to do is just wake up and create. Just achieve ultimate freedom, you know, ultimate happiness. Deep down, I really think that's kind of what we all want, in life is to just be free. The unselfish version of that is, I guess, to help people realize kind of what they're capable of, and yeah, help people understand that there's like very few degrees of separation between themselves and the people they admire or aspire to be. I'm Joziah Council. I am a creator. I think that creator title kind of it presents itself in a lot of different ways in my life, I would say. In music for sure, but really just bringing ideas to life in a lot of different formats. I'm just passionate about having an idea, you know, and then yeah, bringing it to life. It's just a very interesting process to me, the fact that we can all just think of something and it all starts here, just non-existent, and then yeah, you can just be holding the thing you were thinking of. You can be listening to the thing you were thinking of that you came to create. You can wear the thing that you were thinking of that you came to create. So I'm a creator. That's the long-winded version. What do I do outside of create? um, I do a few things with regard to music. Most recently, I just started the Sound Council sessions. That's a big focus of mine right now, where I go to different cities, find underground talent, give them a platform to be heard, curate an intimate, sort of setting of about like 30 people in one room, in these different cities, and yeah, kind of get live reactions of people, listening to the music. It's kind of like a listening party format. So Sound Council and the Sound Council sessions is a big focus of mine musically right now. Um, yeah, I guess that's kind of like what I do. I do a few things, but we'll leave it there. Cool. First question down. Woo! All right. Okay, talk to me about your music. What do you feel? And where does your mind go when you create? Man, what do I feel? That's a packed question. Just because it kind of depends. Sometimes I might hear something that inspires me to create, and I just feel inspired. And that's a plethora of emotions I could be, feeling. But sometimes I experience a moment in life, an interaction with a person or something that inspires me to create. It's not necessarily like a feeling of, happiness, sadness necessarily. It's just, I guess, yeah, inspired. I just feel inspired whenever I'm creating. And sometimes it's hard to get in that headspace, right? So when you ask, where does my mind go when I create? Just even thinking about getting into the right mindset to create, sometimes it's difficult just because I'm kind of doing a lot. I've gotten into, business and, running a business and being an entrepreneur and, juggling a lot of different things, being a producer on a talk show. And it's, sometimes when there's too much going on, it's hard to be in the mindset to create because that mindset is just like freedom for me, So the most conducive environment for me to create is when I just feel like free to just do whatever, and it's hard to get there when you feel like you have a lot of obligations, you know what I'm saying? So when I finally get there, when my mind is finally there, I find I'm pretty reflective, introspective. I'm thinking about a lot of things I've gone through. I write from like very real places, and sometimes they're not even just my own experiences. Most often they are, but I just remember writing a song about a relationship that my friend told me he had with someone, and it just inspired me to create, and kind of put myself in their shoes. So yeah, it's more of a reflective and introspective mind state, whether I'm kind of reflecting on myself or reflecting on someone else. But that mind state is this, it's the freest, the purest, the like most magical place for me to be mentally. Yeah, it's a beautiful place. What is your creative process? It sort of just depends. Sometimes I'm like starting with a melody, then the words come. Very rarely do the words come before the melody, all things considered. Sometimes I hear an instrumental from a producer or beat maker, and then I write the lyrics to that, or the lyrics and the melody come before I even hear a instrumental. Sometimes I'm making the instrumental while I'm while I'm writing the song, and those are honestly, that's like probably the best way to create for me, at the most preferred way, when I'm just kind of making everything together. But lately I've been outsourcing a lot of the instrumentals. So it really just depends, man. I'm all over the place. I should probably have more of a standardized process, but for me, I like to reserve music as a place to be just completely free with no rules, no regulations. Yeah, I'm just free to do whatever, experiment. And yeah, so I guess I really don't have a process. It's just like whatever comes first. I have to leave that room. Great question. Okay, moving along, what do we have? uh what is your mission? I guess my mission, selfishly, because there's two different missions, I guess. It's like the selfish mission and then the unselfish mission. But selfishly, I just want to, yeah, get to a point where all I have to do and all I'm obligated to do is just wake up and create. You know, I'd like to live a life too where I'm just like experiencing different people and cultures, traveling more, get to travel here and there, just achieve ultimate freedom, you know? Yeah, with that, it's just like ultimate happiness, you know? Um, yeah, I guess that's a very like vague thing to say, but deep down, I really think that's kind of what we all want, in life, is to just be free. Yeah, that's the selfish version. The unselfish version of that is, I guess, to help people realize kind of what they're capable of, and yeah, help people understand that there's like very few degrees of separation between themselves and the people they admire or aspire to be. They see people, they might see their, say, favorite artist on TV or something like that, and they think, there's just light years between them and this person. But in all reality, any person you look up to, they didn't start in that position, and they, were in the same place you were, maybe even the worst place you were. Not a lot of people break that thing down logically and, get caught up with just like living life on a day to day and don't even stop to think that, think of these things. Some people aren't even like woken up to the fact that they are just as capable to achieve what they want to achieve as anybody else they've seen. So it's the unselfish mission. Why do I create? Because I just like the way I feel when I'm making something. I've gotten into producing like visuals for my music, right? So that was kind of like the first step in me understanding that it's not just about the music, it's really just about creating in general and bringing ideas to life. Definitely with the visuals. I just am inspired visually as I am sonically as well. When I create music, even while I'm creating, I'm kind of envisioning things.
Are you more obsessed with the outcome or the process of it all?
Definitely the outcome. For sure. I don't even think I like the process, to be honest. Yeah, I mean, like, there's parts of the process I love, like when I when I first start making a song, and it's like just a melody, a few lyrics here and there. Writing is a very pleasing part of the process, I guess, especially in the beginning. Towards the end of the writing, when you just have a few lines you need to work in and it's just not working, that's where it gets frustrating. but that moment in the beginning where everything is kind of just flowing, you just caught this flow that's just like magical, and yeah, you're just creating a special moment, something you really vibe with. And sometimes like days after I go back and I don't even like what I created, but sometimes I go back and I'm like, oh yeah, this is actually amazing. Let's keep working on this. But the deeper you get into it, because I'm involved in like the mixing, the mastering, the recording and engineering and everything like that. Yeah, it gets a bit it gets a bit rough in the process, but I always know, I'm able to get it to where I want it to be, no matter, and that requires me to be like very meticulous. It's always 100% worth going through everything that's frustrating. By the time I get to the end, I always feel like, yeah, I would do this again and again and again. So I just remind myself through the process that like, okay, it's gonna be good. It's not like it's, super miserable, but yeah, definitely more obsessed with the outcome for sure. But yeah, that's why I create. I love the way it makes me feel. Yeah, it's therapeutic at the end of the day. Like I feel lost if I don't create after a while. Just thinking about so many other things and just life in general. Just as we get older, there's just more responsibilities we have, and there's more pressure. I don't know, for me at least, there's more pressure as I get older too. Like to take care of those responsibilities, to be successful, and like, those are all real things I feel like everybody experiences. So it's easy to get caught up in all of that for me. And then at a point, yeah, if I'm not creating for an extended period of time, I just feel like lost. And then I get in a place where I'm like, why do I feel so lost? I'm like, oh, I haven't created in a while. Let me go. you know, that's why I create. I need to create. What do you want people to feel when they experience your music? Honestly, I would hope that, it's something positive, but truthfully, I just want people to feel something when they experience my music. The worst music review I could get is like someone that was just like, yeah, it was you know what I'm saying? Like, I'd rather have you hate it, than feel indifferent. Just because I think that's the whole purpose of music, to make you feel. And I really come from a place of just like, that's what music means to me, because that's the music I love the most, is the music that makes me feel. There's just nothing like it. There's just nothing like it. And I would hope that the people who appreciate my music feel the same way I feel about artists I'm a fan of and listen to kind of religiously. Because, yeah, that's always the commonality. It just makes me feel something that you can't get anywhere else. It makes you like reflect and be introspective. And honestly, it's like, I feel like sometimes I even find myself relating to people singing about some topic that I never even experienced. Just like, that's just how connected I feel to certain artists sometimes, like making music. But that's it. I just want them to feel, at the end of the day. That's it. Okay. This is great. And this does really feel like very therapeutic. I don't know what part of it can't just be the incense, but I really do like feel at ease. You said everyone is more capable than they realize. Where does that belief come from? Um, you know, I don't really know where that comes from. I think it's just like over time. I'll tell you where it comes from. I think over time, just me seeing myself able to do certain things. I feel like if I can do it, most people can, right? So I just don't think I really don't think I'm that different from everybody else. Maybe my mindset is in a certain place, but I think I was woken up to the fact that I'm more capable than I realize, and that was more just like a conversation that was had, or I'm seeing other people say online, and you know, kind of just wakes me up to like, oh, I could do this. A big moment for me was when my brother came out to my family. because my family's like super religious. So that was like the that was like a huge pivotal moment in my whole family dynamic. It was that serious, for my family because they're really religious, and it took a lot for my brother to get to that point, muster up the courage to even be able to tell my family that and kind of go against everything he was taught to believe and everything he was taught to feel about himself. That was definitely a moment where I was just like, whoa, he totally just broke away from this whole world that we've been living in like our entire lives and is just doing his own thing. And that was inspirational for me for sure. And then someone online who I follow a lot when I was in college was Gary Vaynerchuk. He really just watching a lot of what he would talk about and being in college at the time. He's definitely a huge influence on why I even dropped out of college and started pursuing music the way I did. He just opened my eyes to a lot of things that were these normatives that exist just because they're normatives and not because they offer like some significant value like staying in college if you're a marketing student and you're not going to do anything with that degree and you're not going to be a doctor, you're not going to be a lawyer. It's like just take a second to think like, are you just going to college just because it's the thing to do? Have you thought about the fact that this could put you in a financial bind for the next 20 years of your life? Is this something you want to stop and think about? And so he opened my eyes up to a lot of things, and then I just took action and start working towards what I wanted out of life. And I think it's because of the fact that I had to be woken up myself that I feel like everybody else can be woken up, as well. So I think that's why I feel like everybody's more capable than they think, because it's just like it's within all of us. Some people need a conversation, some people need an example, some people need just, to see something like this and be inspired, and also throughout my journey, I've had people reach out to me and kind of tell me essentially that they've they've had some sort of awakening, and it's not that profound and deep, but when I get people reaching out to me like, yo, my parents really wanted me to be a nurse, and I just like that just was not my thing, and like my whole life that's what they wanted from me, and I was just struggling with like this back and forth between who my parents want me to be and who I want to be, and it's just like just to see people start to have that conversation with themselves like over my course in my journey, um just yeah, it was a testament to people just needing to see someone else like I saw someone else. So yeah, that's why everybody's more capable than they think. It's so true. What does living up to your potential actually mean to you? Really just putting my best foot forward, and being honest with myself about what my best is. And I think that's where people kind of mess up is they're dishonest with themselves. Like even in saying that, I think we're all more capable than we think. You can really work 20 hours of the day sometimes. If you are passionate enough, if you're willing to put this work in, it's like it's possible. Like very few things are impossible, right? So it's like I'm not out here having 20-hour days every day, by the way, but I'm just saying like some days are 20-hour days, and sometimes it just takes a lot. You don't get to this place where only 1% of people make it by doing what everybody else does. You get to that place by doing what only 1% of people are willing to do, and that's just having long days sometimes. It's just putting the work in every day consistently, not being heard, throughout that time. And a decade later, maybe it works out, or maybe it's 2 decades. Who knows? It's just like, you just have to put the work in, but you have to be honest with yourself about how much you can actually do. Yeah, from me, it's just putting my best foot forward, really just trying my best in life because I don't have this figured out. I don't know if I'll ever have it figured out, but I know I'm trying my best, and that's all I can do is try my best. I think, uh, and that honestly like relieves a lot of extra stress and pressure and tension, even if you isolate it to certain projects you have going on. It's like no matter how well the song does, how well it's received, no matter how well the visual or music video say, is done or how well it's received. I know that I did everything I possibly could, to make that the best representation of my current skill set and what I am capable of currently. I know I did everything. There's like by the time I put a song out, there's really nothing else I think I could have done to that song to make it better. Like it's a painfully staking like hours and hours and hours. I mean, I can't even tell you how long I spent on certain writing certain just verses. I'm just obsessed with like just doing my best because if I do something like 75%, 80%, and it doesn't do well, then it's just like, well, if I did the best I could, what could have happened? So that's what living up to my full potential looks like. That's what it actually means to me. Just trying my best every day to be the best I can. Whatever happens from there, that's what happens. I tried. And not to say I don't think the steps I'm taking will take me to a very significant and rewarding place. I've separated myself from what that outcome is because I just don't know what it is. I think it's going to be great, but I don't know what it is. Oh, we have more cards. Okay, great. I thought that was it for a second. You survived a near death accident and had to learn to walk again. Looking back now, do you think that experience happened for you in some way? How did it shape who you are today? It definitely shaped who I am today. To say it happened for me in some way is it's kind of an interesting take. I'm not sure, but what I will say is I'm glad it did happen because it completely changed the trajectory of my life. Before I got into this car accident in like 2016, I was going to go to Howard University. It was more of an esteemed college, right? And I think I probably would have stayed in college because I would have felt, a bit more obligated to. But I ended up, staying back home, recovering, doing a year at community, then going to a local um, school, Chatham University, which is, was a cool school, but there was definitely like less pressure than like Howard. I'm definitely glad it happened to me in that moment. Also, I picked up the guitar because I couldn't play the drums or sit at a keyboard or anything like that because my legs were just like locked in these braces. So I had a guitar sitting around that someone had given to me. Really, probably like a couple weeks before my accident, and it was a 12-string guitar, so it was like tough to learn the guitar on a 12-string guitar. But I wrote a couple songs there and kind of realized how much I loved playing the guitar too. Still have a lot of work to do to be a good guitar player, but that was definitely something that came from my accident. The appreciation of life, I guess. I was kind of bed stricken for some months. Yeah, I got to live a disabled life for some time, and it put things in perspective for me. It just made me appreciate so many little things that were taken for granted, for so long. Yeah, I was happy to be alive, and it did kind of make me. It put a fire under me a bit, and kind of gave me more of a sense of purpose, in the sense that like I'm here for a reason, to a degree, and or more so, not necessarily that I'm here for a reason, but like having a near death experience brought me to a place where I now feel I have like a second chance almost, and I have to take advantage of that. It can be gone like this, So it's like that's why if I feel like I'm doing everything I can every day to just be the best version of myself, whatever that is. If everything ends today, like I want to just be able to say that I put my best foot forward. I tried the best I could, and I did the best I could. Um, yeah, and I'd prefer that to be my legacy, and than anything else. So yeah, I guess that's how it shaped. who I am today. Sometimes I forget it happened, to be honest, until I'm like reminded. So, and it is good to revisit that sometimes, to just take a moment and just be grateful, for the little things. You just get so caught up trying to do so much extra stuff, man. Especially living in a place like Miami. It's just like, oh my goodness, it's just clouded by so many things that literally mean nothing at all. Just mean absolutely nothing, and you find yourself getting caught up in like caring about meaningless things. But it always is good to just take a second and yeah, appreciate life. That was beautiful. Okay. If your younger self was here with us right now, what would you say to him? Um, to be honest, yeah, if I'm going like way younger, like even like high school, middle school, I don't know. I mean, time is like the most valuable thing, right? So, uh, I would encourage him to start what I, did for myself, kind of like dropping out of college and just more so pursuing music full time. Yeah, I would tell that kid to get to it then, because it's just a very unique moment in your life where you're surrounded by like so much support. Just, you're around so many people all the time. Like the social environment is just very conducive to just breed success, to be honest, when you're talking about like a personal branding, of yourself and like and things like that. Yeah, for sure. Going back, I'd be much further along if I would have started like doing music, because the thing is, like, I was known to be a singer, like a music kind of artist. Well, not, I guess, less an artist, more of just like a singer. I could sing. So it was already there. Like why I didn't start. Well, I was like very religious and whatnot. I was writing like songs in my church and like doing that thing, but it was just within that small like little church environment. But I didn't feel um, the freedom to create outside of that, and put like those things out. Yeah, in retrospect, I for surely would. I would be a better artist today. I'd probably even have a larger following. Like there's a lot. So I would encourage him to, start that path earlier. If your future self was here, what would he tell you to stop holding back? What would he tell you to stop holding back? These are very therapeutic questions. um, at a certain level of self-expression, and it's probably I just saw your face like kind of be like, what? That's probably surprising to hear, but
You still feel like you're holding back.
I still feel like, in a way, yes, because while most of my life consists of me expressing myself and like my ideas and whatnot, I feel like I have s- I have to exist in so many different worlds when it comes to running my marketing business, right? That's like a totally different person. I feel has to exist in that space than like who I show up here as, like this person who's just an artist, which really like this is just who I am, but I feel like in these other environments, maybe I won't be taken seriously as a young black man in these like predominantly non-black spaces. I just over consider a lot of things, and I mean maybe a lot of it is worth considering, but yeah, in that world is different than when I'm like producing this talk show, right? It's I feel like I have to be different people in different environments sometimes because they're totally different from one another, and they require me to show up differently in. Yeah, it's almost like different personalities. Not that I act like have a different personality, but it's like me as an artist, like I just really don't care about many things, right? Outside of like creating. I love good food. I love to travel. But like just me at my core, like I really am just one of those artists who just, I really don't care about anything else but just like, I could sit in my home studio and make music all day and not talk to anybody for like a week or two. and that's just who I am, but I'm far from careless in these like places where I have to show up and like make connections and I'm going over contracts and like logistics and like, it's a different part of my brain I have to use. So I'm saying all that to say, I understand whatever I do as an artist affects these different parts of my life, and these different people who know me as this type of person will see this type of person, and maybe that affects a deal, or maybe so it's just like I am extremely analytical about everything sometimes, and it kind of is counterproductive. So I still very much express myself, but in the process of doing so, I feel like I'm too considerate of everything, and how that affects like different parts of my life. So I think my future self would just say just don't hold back any part of it. That self-expression, don't be overly considerate about what happens if you are fully expressing yourself. I feel like that would be the one thing, because it is frustrating sometimes, but easier said than done. We're all still working on that. um, these are great questions, by the way.
Thank you.
Next question: what is the biggest lesson life is teaching you right now? Man, how long do we have? I think right now I'm really at a place where like I'm doing so much that I know like deep down I'm being spread too thin, and I feel like I'm not being as effective in really any of those departments as I'd like to be, right? And it really stems from me understanding I'm more capable, than I realize, and I have these expectations for myself, and I believe I can do, and go above and beyond and all of this stuff, right? So it comes from that place, but it leads me to a place where I'm like doing too many things at once. And I think life right now is kind of teaching me that I'll have to cut like one or two things that are of some sort of importance to me, that I also feel I can succeed at as well. And that's a really difficult thing for me right now, because yeah, I don't like to quit anything, right? And kind of, even if it is for the greater good of everything, it feels like very against who I am. So but I know it's coming to that point, and I think life is definitely teaching me right now that exact thing. Um, what are you learning to love about yourself? Uh, what are you learning to love about yourself? Interesting. Yeah, I really don't.
This is hard for you to answer.
Yeah, I feel like it is. It is difficult to answer. Yeah, I guess I really don't. The introspective moments I have are really I guess it's really about how I feel about other things or other people, and kind of like commentaries on those. That's what like a lot of my music is, whether it's about like the complexities of love and how I feel about love, and how I feel about the story you just told me about your life. And my grandma wants me to write a love song for her and her and my grandfather to celebrate their 60th anniversary. So yeah, I'm often like introspective, right? But I think it's with regard to just understanding how I feel about other things. And I really don't spend a lot of time, like, to be honest, I don't really spend a lot of time, like, loving myself, I guess you could say, or like, because when you ask, what are you learning to love yourself? Or what are you learning to love about yourself? That kind of like suggests that, you're being pretty intentional about learning, you know?
Do you feel like you love yourself?
um, To be honest, I've thought about this before, and I mean, I guess I love myself enough to like put myself through a lot to give the best life for myself,
Right.
but I don't I don't really spend a lot of time like thinking about that, I and it sounds like pretty dark, but to be honest, I don't know, like, truthfully, the path I'm on and like everything I'm trying to do, I just haven't really like isolated that as like a necessary thing to focus on. You know what I'm saying? Like I think, and not that it isn't a necessary thing, but it's just like, especially right now, like where my head is at is just like there's a job that has to be done. You know, there's a mission that needs to be accomplished, and that's really it. You know, I think, yeah, I don't know, I don't really spend time on that too much. Yeah, maybe I should though. You know, but
I think so.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's good. You know, but it's just like there's like kind of a list of things. You know that I feel like my that occupies my brain on a daily basis. You know,
Where are you on
kind
that
of
list?
from a priority list. Well, I mean, honestly, self care is probably it definitely should be higher on the list, like between just like sleep and like things like this. But and those are things I've been like more intentional about, but really because like it is for
For your mission.
yeah,
Well, and
like
I think that's why it's important to love yourself, because I think if you come from a loving place, you can do so much more in life. Like if you're driven by love and not something else.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think about that sometimes though, like when it comes to just happiness and those like feelings, it's like I'm really on a different end of that, and I'm just like I just feel like drive. I feel like focus. I feel
Seems like you're obsessed.
yeah, yeah. It is. I'm definitely a bit obsessed. So, but I think at a point in my life, like once I don't know, I would like to think once I get to a certain point with everything I'm trying to do, um, probably I don't know, maybe focus on that more. How has it felt to be seen in this way today? Um, Great. Yeah. I think having moments and holding moments where you can understand yourself better amidst all of the noise that life is, I think is very healthy. I think it's very productive, and something that needs to happen on a more regular basis. To be honest, like yeah, life for me has just gotten so loud, and I feel like I used to have more moments where I'm just like thinking about these things, but like I said, I'm a pretty over analytical person. So even just like riding in my car from like my house to like a set or a meeting or something like that, I won't even like play music sometimes. I'll just kind of be in my head. I'm always just in my head about everything now. A lot of times it's about like, oh, well, this thing I have to do, like what has to be done. And lately it's been that. But sometimes it's just thinking about who I am, what I want, if my path is changing, if my wants and my loves for things are changing. Um, I try to be I try to think about these things as much as possible. Um, or I don't even try sometimes. I'm just like, that's just how I am. But this was great. This was great for me to sit down and yeah, go through these things. Biggest takeaway, I guess, is yeah, what I just said, that you know it's important to hold this space for your own betterment. Any final thoughts? Is this the last card? No.
Yes. Well, there's a thank you in there.
Oh, this is just a thank you. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So this is the last one. Any final thoughts? I think that I hope you continue to do this. I hope I see you're going to different cities. That's exciting.
Yeah, we're going on tour.
That's awesome. That's
you.
amazing. I think this is something that feels fresh and new, and that's always exciting because you just feel like everything is being done by everyone. Like there's nothing new
It's
to
not
be
done.
done sometimes. But it does. This does feel like it has a lot of potential to grow, and yeah, I hope you continue on this path and keep holding this space for people. I think especially for artists. I don't know if you just limit it to artists or
It's mostly
it's
artists,
mostly
but
artists. Okay. Um, Man, I know a lot of people probably need this, and I'm sure you've walked away from
that's why I do this,
things
right?
like this and have understood like how much it's probably helped people and how much other people's stories can help any individuals. And honestly, I'm yeah, glad to have been a part of it. Um, and yeah, I guess I don't know how much has to be included, but I'm just curious. Um, what made you reach out to me?
I think you put out some quality work,
Hmm.
and I'm very impressed by you, and I feel big energy about you. It's almost like I see you going big places, and
Oh,
I
okay.
can tell you're doing big things, and I can tell you put the time and intention behind what you do. It's really felt through everything you create.
Well, I appreciate that, but way too much time sometimes. But
Well, I can feel
I'm glad
it.
it's felt. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah. No, this is a beautiful thing. I really love this, and I'm glad I didn't watch too much, you know, because I saw a few clips and you know and whatnot. But I definitely wanted this to be like an experience and you to get, you know, my very organic self. So thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
I had to
Thank you
get
for
my
being
thank you out
here.
before you got your thank you out. But
Thank you.
yeah, this is great.